this might be the one, that your star would finally shine, place in the sun. But things didn't pan out, you've got nothing left to show. Now you're wondering what to do, where you should go. But don't give up, don't give up, even though things get tough. Don't give up, no, don't give up. All you need is a little luck. So you thought you might try your hand at something new, from the back of your mind, the thing you always wanted to do. You were so excited, but now you feel let down. So you pack it all away, leave it on a shelf. But don't give up, don't give up, even though things get tough. Don't give up, no, don't give up. All you need is a little luck. Some days will be easy, some days will be hard. You just need to keep going, keep pushing yourself on. What is success? I say it's not giving up. Believe in yourself, keep making that good art, and don't give up, don't give up. Even though things get tough, don't give up, no, don't give up. All you need is a little luck. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Even though things get tough, don't give up, don't give up. All you need is a little luck. 'Cause all you need is a little luck.
Well, welcome to this week's edition of the Wispy Mop Music Acoustic Radio Podcast Series. I'm your host, Todd, middle initial C. Walker. Yes, that's right, it's me. And we have been listening to the title cut off of a new CD by the title of All You Need. And of course, that's the title of the song by a Maryland-based singer-songwriter who we have interviewed on this show before. Name of Stephen Gellman. The Hidden Poet is what he goes by on his website, hiddenpoet.com. And he just happens to be on the phone with me right now. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Todd. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, you're most welcome. And it's only 2 years ago that we did the show, maybe not a full 2 years, and you had just released a CD at that point. So you're quite prolific.
Yeah. That CD was made a while before that, but COVID hit, and I kept holding it, waiting for COVID to be over, and then COVID was not over, so it got delayed, and then, when I was home with the rest of the world, I wrote new songs, and that's what we're here to talk about today.
So these songs on All You Need have been written since, say, 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were all written very quickly. I've never written an album so fast before ever. Like with the beginning of COVID, every time I try and sit down to write, I just couldn't, and I went months and months and couldn't write anything. And then all of a sudden one day, actually the thing that got it all started was a friend of mine sent me a card in the mail with a quote from a book, and the book was called Wintering, and I thought that the quote was really beautiful and really inspirational, and so that got me excited, and that's when I went and wrote the first song, which is the first song in the record, Wintering. And then I went and bought the book because I couldn't wait to read the book, and then I hated the book.
No.
But I didn't like the book, but I loved the quote, and that got the ball rolling. And then the songs, they just started coming one after another after that. And then before I knew it, I had an album's worth of material. And I wish it was always that easy.
Well, let's listen to about 30 or 45 seconds of Wintering so people have a good understanding of what you've just spoken about. Is that a cool idea?
Sounds great.
Here it comes.
Springtime in, gonna step outside, feel the sun on my skin. I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna win. It's time for wintering to end. It's been a long winter, yeah, it's been a long time since I felt true peace of mind. Wrestled with demons, looking for the light during this wintering time. But what makes me happy are dogs in my bed, emerging butterflies dancing overhead, butter slathered on a slice of rye bread. This is a life well lived.
Well, in that song, you mentioned your dog. And if I remember, didn't you get your dog about a year and a half ago?
Yes. And I have 3 dogs.
Wow.
Yeah, I adopted 2 dogs during COVID. Excuse me. That was just something I think a lot of us did.
Well, I was trying to buy audio equipment and sometimes some musical equipment, and the problem was so many people were doing the same thing because they were stuck at home. The suppliers had run out of everything.
Oh, yeah.
But I would imagine pets, that was a big thing because people weren't going to the shelters and things like that. So they probably needed people to adopt. Yep.
It was all kinds of people were adopting dogs during COVID, and we didn't want to. We had plans to adopt 1, not 2, but that's the way it goes.
Well, what is the quote from Wintering that you liked?
Oh my gosh. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I have it in a card that I still have, but that is upstairs tucked away, and I can't recall it off the top of my head.
But it's not part of the lyrics of the song, is that correct?
No, it's not in the song, no.
Oh, okay.
It was the spark, the inspiration that, gave me the idea for the song.
So you mentioned that this was the quickest you were able to write enough songs for an album or a CD or a download card or whatever we call them these days. From the time you started writing Wintering, which was the first one, until you finished the last one where you were happy with them, so it was now time to think about going into the studio, how long of a period of time was that?
It was about 5 months.
That quickly?
Yeah, and I've never done it. This is my 10th album, Todd, and this has never happened. Never. It usually takes years. Yeah. So it just, one just kept flowing right after another. It was an amazing, you know, period of time for me. Like, I just never had that happen before. I don't know why it happened, but it was a gift and I just ran with it.
Now, had you, while you were writing the songs, had you formulated in your mind how you wanted to record them, or did that all happen when you got into the studio and started talking with the different musicians and the producer and so forth?
Well, yes. I knew what my last album, Cold Harbor, I wanted to do this with my last album, and it didn't turn out that way. Which was, I had this idea where I want to make an all acoustic record with no electric instruments. No electric guitar, not even electric bass. And that's what I wanted to do on my last album, but I got into the studio and the producer for that had a different vision for it. And I'm always, I work with different producers on each record, and I'm always in the mindset that you need that outside voice to kind of direct you. And so someone who's removed from the music and is not as close to it and can see things with a wider lens, so to speak. And so I didn't do it on the last record, and I was determined this time to make an all acoustic record. And I just was happy this time around. My vision aligned with the producer's vision, and I couldn't be happier.
Now, why do you choose to use a different producer for each album? Is it because you're looking for a slightly different sound?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And, a different vision and someone who sees things in a different way. And, everybody brings something different to the table, but this time around, it was just pure magic. I mean, it was just, I don't even have the words for it. It was just a joy. I'm usually a nervous wreck in the studio, and this was just joy, pure joy from the moment I started till the end. I didn't want it to be over, and that never happens either.
Now, did you use the same studio as last time, or a different studio as well?
No, yeah, no, new studio, new producer, and it was a referral I got from my friend who masters all my records, who lives in Nashville, and he put me in touch with Jim, who produced the record.
And are you at liberty to tell people where you recorded this?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, so I recorded it with Jim Robeson, and he worked for a long time at Bias Studios in Springfield, Virginia, and he left there and started his own studio, and he works, exclusively now with the Seldom Scene, and he's done amazing things like he's got Grammy awards. I mean, he's just amazing, and it was just such a pleasure and an honor to work with him.
Now, was it difficult to record all acoustic without using electrics?
No. Like I said, I've always wanted to do this, and this was the most, like I said, at home I felt, and more like this is the sound I've always wanted. And there's some bluegrassy influences, as you can hear, because Jim works with the Seldom Scene, so he brought them in to play on the record. And he brought roots musicians like Kathy Fink and Marcy Marxer to play on the record. And this is the brilliance. Here's an example of why it's great to find the right producer for you who understands the songs. Like when I was first referred to him, he invited me over the house, to play him the songs, and then he would decide if he, felt like he could work with me, if there was something there. And so, I played him the songs, and fortunately he liked them, and we went from there. But he had this vision to bring in this woman named Chao Tien, who plays the Chinese dulcimer. And I'd never heard of the Chinese dulcimer. Of course, I knew what a dulcimer was, but I hadn't heard of a Chinese dulcimer. And that's like the special sauce, I think, of the record. It's peppered throughout the whole album, from the first song to the last song, and I think it's just a really unique and beautiful sound.
Well, it does sound very similar to a hammered dulcimer.
Mm-hmm. And it's played as a hammered dulcimer, but the instrument's a little different.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the whole album does have a little bit, I can't say fully, but it does have a little bit of a country flavor to it.
Right.
And to make that point, I'm going to play everybody a little bit of Just Like You, Just Like Me.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
We're not that different. We both go to work. We both pay bills and we shop at the local grocery store. And maybe on weekends we might go to movies or get in the car and take a ride to Baltimore. So I don't know why you think this life I live is strange, but everything I do, you do just about the same. We don't love differently.
I mean, that definitely has a country flavor to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you seem to be using, or the producer has brought in the dobro quite often. And in fact, in All You Need, it actually even at some point sounds almost like a Hawaiian slide guitar.
Oh, neat. Yeah. Huh, yeah. Yeah, that's Fred Travers from the Seldom Scene playing dobro. Yeah. It's amazing.
Now, did you use your basic trio, or was it just you and the studio folks?
Well, the trio is on the record. So Margaret sings on most of the tracks and plays harmonica, and then Seth Keibel plays flute on several tracks. Yeah.
Now, and his studio is in Springfield area?
The Bias was in Springfield. His studio now is in Gaithersburg.
Oh, so it's fairly close.
Yeah.
I was going to say logistics of travel down to Springfield and so forth would have been somewhat problematic.
Yes.
I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed when someone says, "Oh, yes, I produced this in Colorado, California, and Nashville." I'm thinking, well, you must have spent as much on travel as you did on studio time.
Right. Exactly.
So, what is your favorite track of the CD?
Oh, that's easy. My favorite song is California.
Ah, okay. And tell me why.
Well, I mean, as a whole, this whole album, all these songs is definitely my favorite bunch of songs I've ever recorded, for certain. But California means a great deal to me for a couple different reasons. One, I'm just love the way it turned out. It was exactly what I envisioned. Two, I wrote it for the late singer Kate Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are familiar with Kate Wolf, and I always encourage people to look her up and discover her music, because her songs and her voice have been just a constant source of comfort and joy to me for so long. They were first introduced to me by Dick Sari on the Music Americana folk radio show here in DC so many years ago, and I have just loved her since. A lot of people don't know about her because she died young. She had leukemia, and she was just really on the cusp of like big fame. Like she had just recorded an episode of Austin City Limits, and she was really her star was rising, and then she passed away. So I've always played a lot of her songs to keep her music alive, and I've always had this idea to write a song like in the spirit of Kate, that sounded like a Kate Wolf song that honored her. And every time I've tried, it just never happened. It never happened. And then, during this prolific period for me where I wrote this album, one day I sat down and I said, I'm going to try writing that Kate song again. And I basically wrote that song in one afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah. And the production, there's a bunch of little Easter eggs in the song for Kate Wolf fans who'll pick stuff out if you're a Kate Wolf fan. But I really wanted it to sound like a Kate Wolf song, so I reached out to Kate's guitarist who lives in Northern California, and I said, hey, I wrote this song for Kate. Might it be something you might want to play on? And she said to send her the song. And so I sent her the song, and fortunately she loved the song. And so she agreed to, play guitar on the track. And her guitar playing is very distinct. Like if you listen to Kate Wolf records, you know Nina Gerber's guitar playing. And she was, been touring with Carla Bonoff. And so she had like a few weeks off from the Carla Bonoff tour, and she went into the studio and recorded it. And when she sent it back, I'm like, the music, I'm like, oh, it's Kate Wolf. It sounds like a Kate Wolf song. So, so to me, that is just the special song for me.
Well, we won't play the whole song because it's 5 minutes.
It's
a long song, but let's listen to a couple of minutes of it.
Great. Left here and the rain is pouring down. I feel like some beat up toy left in the lost and found. I long for sandy beaches and the roar of ocean sound, from tall cliffs with redwood trees in the lovely northern towns of California. California, California, California. With worries on my mind, I dream of better days, where the sun is always shining bright and my cares just drift away. Cornflower, blue skies and white cotton linen clouds, driving the back roads on the northern rural route. California, California,
Well, it's definitely got a real nice, soothing sound to it.
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to make it chill.
Now, how stripped down was the sound file that you sent her, or was it the full production without a lead guitar part?
Oh, no. She had very specific instructions, and how, she wanted that. I can't remember all the things, but, Jim took care of that. And, but basically, I think it was just my guitar and my voice, and that's all we sent her. And then when she came back, she played so many different guitar lines. She played slide on it later, and we basically, all we added to it was some of the Chinese dulcimer in the beginning of the song, and then we just left it as kind of like a guitar duet.
Well, it sounds very full.
Yeah, I know. She played a bunch of different parts, and it's just gorgeous.
Well, what a fun thing to have happen. I've read articles by her, and I've seen Acoustic Guitar Magazine did an article on, and this is 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, maybe even longer, about the stage setups for some acoustic musicians, and she was one of the ones.
Oh, neat.
And so I've known her name for a long, long time. And I believe that the guitar she plays was Kate Wolf's guitar.
Yeah. Kate left her guitar, yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a big thrill for me.
So before we go any farther, this CD or this album has, well, tell me, has it been formally released yet?
Yes. So it came out a few days ago to the world, on all the platforms, digital platforms and stuff. But the official release concert is not until next week. It's on October 22nd. And so that's kind of the official kickoff. But it is available. It's out in the world wherever, people get their music. And, of course, as independent artists, we always appreciate when people come directly to us to get the music. The streaming platforms are problematic for us because we don't even make a penny per, play. It's, it's a fraction of a cent per play. So it's very hard to, make money that way. But like, I never promote the digital, the like Spotify and stuff like that, but you got to have it out there, they keep saying. So, the stuff's out there, but we always appreciate, when people get directly from us. So you can get it as a digital download. It's available on CD, and it's also available on vinyl. Really cool limited edition emerald green vinyl, and you can get that from my website, which is hiddenpoet.com. Just like it sounds, HIDDENPOET.com, hiddenpoet.com.
And where is the release concert?
The release concert is at Hill Chapel in Newmarket. And Hill Chapel used to have, it's a really old church with amazing acoustics, and they used to have a concert series that I played at several times back in the day. And in fact, I recorded 2 live holiday concerts there, which I released as albums because the space is just so magical and the acoustics are so amazing. But they stopped doing music there and just turned it into a wedding place. Now people just get married there all the time. But I wanted to do a kind of local concert for the release, and I just always loved the place. So I approached the owners and asked if they would open up for one more concert, and they agreed.
Oh, terrific! Because I've been to many musical functions there over the years.
Yeah, so the space. It's
absolutely
magical, isn't it?
It's got the perfect amount of bounce.
Yeah, yep. And they got the bell tower. I love it. Yeah.
The only thing they did not have in the chapel were restrooms.
That's right, because it's so old. So you have to go next door, but at least it's not an outhouse, right?
That is true, or the curb.
Yes. So there are bathrooms, but you have to walk next door, right?
Well, all of us know, musicians and non-musicians alike, that during especially the first year of COVID, there were no live performances anywhere.
Right.
People got into streaming and then creating YouTube videos. What's it been like for you, live performing wise, as we've moved forward?
Well, yeah, during COVID, I came up with this idea. This is what got me through, where I made videograms. So everyone was stuck in their house, so people would send videograms. They would pick a song, and I would, and send a message, and I would relay the message and sing these songs, and people would send it to their loved ones and friends. So that got me through. And then when it was coming back to live music, I gotta say, it was really weird for me at first, because it felt like I had taken 50 steps back. Like I felt like I was a kid again, just starting out. Like I had nerves, I was nervous, I couldn't remember words to songs. I was just kind of jittery, and it was just like I had to find what's the expression, your sea legs again.
Yeah.
And now everything's back to normal. And then also my old trio, we had during COVID, the cellist who we played with, he decided, they're like, we're going to take this opportunity, sell our house, and we're moving away. And they moved to the ocean. So I lost the cellist. So for a while, it was just me and Margaret. And then we ended up hooking up with Seth Keibel, who plays woodwinds with us now. So it was an adjustment period.
I was just going to ask you, was it difficult bringing Seth in and trying to incorporate woodwinds into what you were already doing?
Well, it was, once he's such a great guy, and he's so funny. He's just so wonderful to be around. It was not hard at all. What I was trying to find another cellist, and I was having trouble finding one. And then, one day I thought, you know what, maybe we should just go into a different direction. Let's just try this. And we tried a gig together, and it just worked. And, and now we've been moving forward. And now also we, because of the sounds of the new album, we have a fiddle player who plays with us too. So now sometimes there's four of us.
Now, have you discovered that it's more difficult to get gigs now, or easier, or more difficult since COVID?
I'd say more difficult for sure. A lot of my regular places I played just never brought music back.
Right.
I mean, they just never brought music back. And so, that's been tough. And then I'm finding it harder. Like, booking gigs is like the worst part of this job. Like, every else part of it is just so fun, but I hate the business end of it, and it's just misery. And I'm not I'm not a good promoter of myself. So, like, I'll send out one quick email or something, and then if I don't hear anybody, I just let it go. Whereas, other people have that drive and that where they just keep going after it. And I just don't, because I despise the process so much. So I'm finding now, sending off, trying to get into new places, I'm just not hearing from anybody. So it's definitely harder.
Now, do you contact venues via telephone, email, or do you walk in the front door with a copy of a CD, or how do you go about doing that?
Well, yeah, in the old days when I was younger, that's what you would do. You walk in the door, you made phone calls, and you had your press kits. They were in folders, and you had your 8x10 photos in there, and like those days are gone. And I think I've always had this, introverted side, and then COVID like really enunciated that. But now I'm just like, I'll send an email, and if I don't hear anything, I'll just move on. So I really need to push myself better in this direction to like get on the phone or show up at a front door. I need to go back to the old school methods.
Well, you're not alone in that. I know many performers, myself included, we're not good at self-promotion. We're fairly good at promoting others, but not ourselves. And it is and yet there's some people out there who I am amazed they get as many gigs as they do, and taking nothing away from their talent level, but some of them are not what I would consider. Well, they're definitely not concert level, but even some of the wineries and breweries and places like that, they're more of an open mic type of a performer. They always use a music stand in front, so they're staring at the music stand as opposed to looking at the audience. And yet they get, they're playing every weekend. And it's because they are really good at marketing. And I've discovered that many of the people who schedule the music don't actually go to the venue during the music time.
Yeah.
So unless one of the employees says, hey, gosh, don't hire that person again, or please bring them back, they're oblivious to how good the performer is or not. They just like, oh, gosh, good. We scheduled somebody for that day. I don't have to think about that anymore.
Yep, I think you're spot on with that. And it's interesting. You brought something up I've been noticing lately, this trend where musicians are standing there with, like, they have this thing now they put on their mic stands where they put iPads on there, and they have all the words in front of them. I'm still old school where you memorize the words, and if you mess up, if you don't remember the words, then you make a joke out of it and you keep going.
Or you sing the first verse a second time. Yeah.
Right. So I still insist on doing that, but I've been noticing this lately, this trend, like everybody's doing it.
Yes, my best friend up in New England, and I was very fortunate to accompany he and his band at Patriot Place, which is right outside the Patriots football stadium, and it's a wonderful venue. And I do about 4 songs that they have in their repertoire. So the first set, they did those songs first, so I joined them. We needed very little rehearsal time because we do them all in the same keys and everything. And then he said, well, why don't you just play these as well? I said, I don't know those songs. He goes, don't worry about it. My iPad's right there. Just look over my shoulder. The problem with that was the sun was behind us. And so all you saw was a reflection of both of us staring at the screen because we couldn't see anything on there. And he was even having trouble. I said, Rich, that's why you memorize your material.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
And then I'm so bad at technological stuff, electronic stuff. I don't know how to set it up so that the screen stays lighted through the whole song. Mine just automatically shuts down after so many seconds.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Like, because I've never done it. So the sun. How do you keep the screen on? Like, I never even thought about those issues. But I guess people have figured out ways around these things. But I don't know. I'm old school,
Well, and I'm a firm believer that if you know your material well enough that you can look around, you can gauge how the audience is accepting or not accepting your music. Now, in a winery or someplace like that or a brewery, they're there to have a good time. We're musical wallpaper. But in like a coffee house, and unfortunately so few coffee houses have music these days because of COVID, they realized they didn't need to stay open in the evenings. It was very important to realize or to notice, are people paying attention or are they not? And which songs do they react to, which do they not? If I'm standing there and staring at a screen, I have no clue what the audience, whether they're paying attention or not.
Right. Yep.
So I'm a stickler. I'm like you. I'm old school.
Yep. Whoop whoop. Stick together.
Yep. Now, in one of your songs, you've got it's called "Little Victories."
Yes, we just filmed a video for it too.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think it's coming out next week, I think.
Now, who does your taping for your Little Victories?
The video?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jim, who produced the album, he also makes videos. So he did the video for that. And we filmed it. I bet you've been there before. Have you ever been to Thorpewood
Of
in
course, yes.
Vermont?
It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, so magical, especially if you've ever been there during December, during Christmas.
Yes. Did
Oh my
many of
God.
their Christmas open houses.
Yes. So you know how, I mean, it's just like you're totally transported when you're there. And I asked them, if we could film a video there because it's so beautiful, and they said yes. So yeah, we recorded a video there.
So tell people, we're going to play a little bit of the song, but tell people what the song is about and why you wrote it.
So this song has gotten the most remarks from different people, and the first and people who have related to it more than any other songs, and the very first person who said something to me, because this was during when we were recording the album, when Marcy Marxer was in the studio and she was playing mandolin on the record, and she told me, she's like, this song really touched me. She said it really moved me. She's like, I do you mind me asking? She said, is this about someone who has cancer? Because she had just gotten over cancer and gone through chemo and all that and been through all of that. And she said the song just resonated, and she thought that that's what I was writing about, was someone who was going through that. And I was like, wow. Wow, that really meant something to me. And then somebody else, shortly thereafter, when we had, before the album came out and I played the song, somebody else thought it was about, well, probably shouldn't, there was a more personal experience, but they related to the song on a totally different level and thought it was about suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what it was written about, either of those things. And it has been so rewarding for me, and since then, how many people have told me that this is my favorite song. I love this song. So it's that's been really special.
So what does it mean to you? What was the meaning behind it?
So when I wrote it, it was about depression.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about those days where you can't even get out of bed. So if you got out of bed, you did those little things.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't feel like brushing your teeth, but you did brush your teeth.
Right.
Then that was a victory to be celebrated.
Gotcha.
And but I've heard so many different people relate to it on other things, and nobody has come to me saying, I relate to this because I deal with depression. So it's been all other things, and it's just mind-blowing to me. I love that.
Well, I think one of the biggest compliments a songwriter can have is when an audience member, after you finish a song or after you finished your set or your whole performance, comes up and says, that song was about me.
Yeah, right.
And of course, it wasn't written for them, but if they can relate, and many people can relate to the song for different reasons, then we have done our job as a songwriter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's listen to a little bit of Little Victories.
Terrific.
You got up today, made your bed, brushed your teeth, when you called a friend. Little victories, little victories. You put on clean socks, went for a walk, brushed your hair, about yourself you cared. Little victories, little victories. Celebrate the small, and even if you fall, you will still be ahead. Tiny steps are best.
Well, you know, that line of when you fall, get up, or however you penned it, reminded me of the documentary about Michael J. Fox that came out not too long ago, because he talks about how he falls all the time.
Oh, I want to watch that. I haven't seen that. I want to see that. Oh, you might have just put that on my my Friday night watching list tonight.
It's a story on many different levels, but one of them is courage. Never taking no for an answer, and then, you know, overcoming adversity to the extreme. I mean, there's so many extremes health-wise in our world, but this is one man's who had it all, basically. Right. And at a very, very young age, because that disease generally is an older person's disease. And for him to get it at a very young age, just an amazing documentary. So definitely watch it. But, you know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I forgot about it. I had heard about it and forgot about it. You just put it back on my radar. Yeah, I think I might watch that tonight.
Well, you know, speaking of the going back to Little Victories, I did, when I listened to it, and I listened to it 3 or 4 times just to make sure, is I figured it was about depression. Mm-hmm. Just because and I don't have depression. At least I don't think I do. So I guess I don't. I don't know. I mean, I get sad, you know, but I don't have the incapacitation that true depression brings upon people. But that's the way I read it. So good for you. And I know that's a subject that you've dealt with in your songs quite a bit over time.
Yes. Like the whole last album was about that. Yeah. And this is kind of like, on the other side of that record, you know, like finally, you know, figured that stuff out. And basically what it came down to really was me getting on medication that I needed. I had resisted it. And once you get the right medication, oh my God, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
I think I was always scared. Well, one, you know, I was scared to talk about it for years, and then I talked about it and wrote that record about it, Cold Harbor, right? And then I was like, okay, now I need to actually deal with it. I was worried, like, because I have people in my life who have had very much more severe cases, and their medication kind of turned them into somebody else.
Yeah.
They were shaking, or they were so out of it. And I had all these fears about medicine, and I resisted for so long, until it finally was so bad. I'm like, I need to do something. And then none of those things happened. The only thing that happened was my life improved dramatically. Dramatically.
Well, speaking of improving one's life, the song you wrote called The Briarcliff Motel.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it made my life better necessarily, but when my sons were young, I would take them back to my, growing up area, which is Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and we always stayed at the same motel. And it wasn't one of the chains. It was just a little one. It was about 2 miles from my parents' house, so it was very convenient. It also was only a mile from the local donut shop, which made it really good spot, and right down the street from the best soft serve ice cream and fried clams on Cape Cod. But anyway, this year, because I had gone up to do a video interview with a high school friend, and I wanted to make a reservation at that motel, and I couldn't remember the name. And then we chatted about, doing this podcast, and I, got the download, and there it is, the Briarcliff Motel. Now, it's not the same one, so I have to thank you for that.
Well, if you ever in Western Massachusetts, in the Berkshires, you got to check out the Briarcliff. And it sounds like you would be a fan because, like you like us, you chose to go to a familiar motel. So maybe it's not the fanciest or the prettiest or, but there is an undeniable charm and eclecticness that you can't get in a chain.
Well, let's listen to a little bit of Briarcliff Motel. You ready?
Sounds good. Yep.
Let's get in the car and go. Be spontaneous, go with the flow. Up north, see the autumn leaves. Just say yes, please. We'll pack a bag and take the dogs. Be in the mountains by the morning fog. It's the perfect time of year to return to the Berkshires. Rhonda's hiding the roots. They'll be ready soon. I'll pack your worries and your cares. Breathe in that mountain air. Making memories, stories to tell. Briarcliff Motel.
Ah, the Briarcliff Motel. Very cool. Very, very cool. Now,
Thank you.
You have you're a tenor.
Yes.
But you have a very smooth delivery. Is that something you cultivated, or is that just the way you've always sang?
I don't know. That's just what I've always done. I mean, I never had a guitar lesson. I never had a voice lesson. I just had a desire to want to play and sing, and I just made it happen. Like when I wanted to play the guitar, I wanted to play rock and roll, and I bought a cheap electric guitar. This was in my senior year in high school, and I brought a electric guitar, and I brought the sheet music for I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett. I didn't know, technically I should have bought a guitar book on how to play the guitar, but no, I bought sheet music because that's what I wanted to play was I Love Rock and Roll. And I had some rudimentary, music knowledge from being in chorus in high school. So I was able to figure out, okay, here's an E, here's an A, put your finger here, without using a guitar book. And I just taught myself to play. And then I tried to make a band, but nobody was ever serious about it. So, the bands fell apart. So then it was just me, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll sing too. And it's just what happened.
Well, you seem to have done a good job at sticking with it and making it a career. And I'm trying to remember from our last conversation, had you gotten into the working world doing something else and then gravitated eventually to doing music either full-time or semi-full-time?
Yeah, so what happened was, so after high school, I had started college, and then I just dropped out and I went to work at NIH. And like that was not the place for me either. As a creative person who didn't have any skills, it was just a menial desk job that was so boring. And I came home and I'm like, I remember telling my parents, I'm like, I need to find something I can be creative at. And I went looking through the newspaper and found a job. They were looking for someone to plan activities at the nursing home down the street. And I'm like, well, that sounds like something I could be creative at. So I went to do that. And that's really where it all kind of started, because the residents, at the nursing home were like, well, you should bring in your guitar and play for us. And I was like, what am I going to play? I don't know what to play, for them. And then I'm like, and I started, learning music that I thought they would like. And of course I was a fan of John Denver, and they liked the John Denver songs. So I started playing those, and I just started doing more of that. And then the music just became a full-time thing because other homes wanted me to come play. And so I was able to leave that day job and just do music full-time, where I played the coffee houses and clubs in the evenings, and then during the day I played in institutionalized settings, whether it was nursing homes or hospitals or schools. And I just made music full-time, and I've never gone back.
Well, I know that you play quite often in our area, and Stephen and I live in the same general vicinity. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And as always, I wish you the very best. I had booked you for one of my Sunday brunch concert series, and unfortunately, this was the first season. Last year, I had one rain date. The year before that, or the years before that, none. And this year, we had 3 rained out weekends in a row, and one of them was yours.
Yep. And I remember that, because I remember the week before was rained out, and then the week after me was rained out. I remember.
Yeah. So we're going to have you back this coming season, 2024, Great. And I'm looking forward to getting your emails and stuff as to where you're playing and seeing stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. But thanks again for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure, and I appreciate you having me back a second time.
Well, you're welcome. And before you go, because the song I'm going to finish the show on, and you and I will have finished our conversation, and we had this discussion from your last CD, was I mentioned that on some of your songs, I picture them as the credits are rolling in a movie. Do you remember having that?
Oh, wait, yeah, that sounds familiar.
And, so going into this list of songs, I thought, I wonder which song or songs is going to be the song that I think I can almost picture sitting in the movie theater, or in today's world, sitting in front of a TV watching a movie.
I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
And so I chose Song for a Friend.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I will play after you and I finish our conversation, and you'll be able to hear this in its entirety, of course. Today being Friday the 13th in October 2023. And of course, Stephen is doing his concert at Hill Chapel on the 26th of October 22nd. This year. Oh, I'm sorry, 22nd. And what time of evening?
So it's Sunday the 22nd, and I decided to do a matinee show. So it's at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Oh, terrific. And people can get tickets at the door?
You can get tickets on the door, or you can get tickets online. It's cheaper to go through the online. It's a little more expensive at the door, but you can get them at the door. And there's a link to, because I don't know the link to it's a ticket agency that's doing the tickets, but there's a link on my website, and I do know my website. Well, that's hiddenpoet.com.
There you go. And I would recommend anybody who's interested in going to the concert, do get your tickets ahead of time, because there are not that many seats at Hill Chapel. That's, right. Old churches didn't have huge parishes, so. Well, Stephen, again, thank you so much for joining me. And
Thank you.
Wish you best of luck. I'm not sure if I can make it to your concert or not, but I'll do my best. If I can, I will be there.
Great. That would be wonderful.
All right. Well, listen,
Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome. You have a wonderful weekend.
Okay. You too.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And as promised, here is Stephen Gellman's song from his All You Need CD, Song for a Friend.
Don't sound good when we talk on the phone, but I'm here to comfort you. You know I've been there too. I can hear the worry in your voice, and I know you feel you have no choice. I'm here to listen to you if you want me to. Talk to me, my friend. You've always been there for me, now here I am. I know you're feeling blue. Let me carry this burden for you. It's really no trouble, that's what friends do. May not understand all you're going through, but my mind is open and my heart is full. There's nothing you can do or say that would make me turn away. Talk to me, my friend. You've always been there for me, now here I am. I know you're feeling blue. Let me carry this burden for you. It's really no trouble, that's what friends do. That's what friends do. That's what friends do. Talk to me, my friend. You've always been there for me, now here I am. I know you're feeling blue. Let me carry this burden for you. It's really no trouble, that's what friends do. Cause that's what we do.
The Wispy Mob Music Acoustic Radio Podcast Series is produced by me, Todd, middle initial C. Walker, at the Wispy Mob Music Studio in Frederick, Maryland. All music on the podcast is played by permission from the artist. If you're enjoying the series, please feel free to share the link, wispymopmusic.podbean.com, or you can find the show on either iTunes or Apple Podcasts, and it actually shows up as an audio YouTube on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is Todd Walker. Anyway, thanks again to Stephen Gellman for joining me today, and thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you next time.